Today we are going to be looking at some of the adaptations of what you might know as the Douglas fir tree. However, scientists can't refer to things just as their common name. We have to break them down into their taxonomic scheme. You can see they're very, very, very tall, all the way to the top. So the Douglas fir tree is in the kingdom Plantae, and the phylum is Coniferida. The class is Pinocida. The order is Pineales. Family Pinaceae. Genus Pseudotsuga. Species Pseudotsuga menziesii. So this is how scientists classify different organisms, kind of like how you would keep files in a filing cabinet. Okay? So we are going to be looking at some specific adaptations of the Douglas fir tree, which, as you can see, grow in the backyards of many urban developments, as well as next to, the ocean. You can find them up in the mountains, and they cover much of the North America, actually. So as we get closer, we're going to look at some of the adaptations, and we're actually going to start looking on the ground, because what makes a Douglas fir tree unique is that its root system is very close to the surface of the soil. So if we look at this fir tree, you're going to notice that's actually a root right there, very close to the surface. If this one's actually sticking out of the surface of the ground, and if you follow it, you can see there is the trunk right there. What this allows is for easy water absorption, meaning the tree can get water with very little rainfall. If you look at the needles of a pine tree, Douglas fir tree, you'll notice here we have a branch that fell. The needles are adaptations of leaves, and these needles allow for water loss prevention, because there is less surface area on a needle than there is a leaf, which is why pine trees and fir trees can keep their needles all winter long. They don't have to drop their needles. The next thing is, as we go up and we look at this tree, you're going to notice that compared to its counterparts like Madrona, etc., these are very, very, very tall. And one advantage of that is you outcompete for the sunlight. So if you look at a Madrona across the fence here, you're going to see that's not a very tall tree, which means these Douglas firs are going to get a lot more sunlight than a Madrona. Way up there. Okay? The next advantage of a Douglas fir is its ability to produce large amounts of seeds. As we look around at the base of this tree, you're going to see a lot of pine cones, and these pine cones contain seeds. And what these seeds do is they make more trees, obviously, and these seeds are spread by the wind, which allows a great deal of genetic diversity, which allows for a healthy population. And in just 1 pound of a Douglas fir tree, there are 3,500 seeds approximately. So they produce a lot of seeds. And the last adaptation we're going to talk about today is the bark of the fir tree. So if we look here at the bark of this fir tree, in a second to zoom in here, the bark of this fir tree is almost like a cork that you would find in a bottle, okay, which allows for these trees to be very protected from the weather, okay? And so because of this, they have the ability to be very strong and resist falling over to things like the wind or erosion. And actually even forest fires have a hard time killing the actual tree and breaking through this tough outer bark. Now you can see here a woodpecker, it looks like, has no problem boring these holes into the side of the tree looking for insects. There's one right there. I'm going to find some insects in there. And that kind of leads us to why it's important that we have these trees. They prevent erosion. They allow for animals to get their food. A lot of animals eat the seed or they eat the bugs that live on the trees. And if you look right behind me, you can see that humans, we love to build things with fur. So this is a deck that my husband and I built last summer out of fur. And so all of these adaptations allow for us as humans and all the other animals to use these trees to our advantage, and they contribute to a healthy ecosystem. So that sums up basically the adaptations of the Douglas fir tree, and you're going to be able to kind of use these as a jumping off point as you start to investigate adaptations of other living organisms. Look at one more tree way up there. Alrighty.